Yeah, timing. we got an opening theme tune.
Right. Poured in.
Right, okay, good to go. Let me grab a roller. Alright, so I'll just, as if nobody's seen it before then, yeah? Right, okay, so UltraFlex is it's a liquid plastic, single component polyurethane liquid waterproofing coat. You can use it on any type of roofing substrate. So ideally, new roof, you will be going with tongue and grooved OSB, 18mm. You can use square edge boards as long as you seal the joints up first. On top of that, you can coat straight over mineral felt, concrete, asphalt, box gutters, lead work, PVC, anything really. You can use it for balconies, walkways, car parks, or of course a normal flat roof. Application processes is pretty much the same whatever you put it onto, and with that it's all about your first coat. So in UltraFlex you put a real thick coat of the stuff on the deck first. We aim for a 70-30 split, so you put 70% of the material on the deck before you put any matting anywhere near it, and then it's just a thin coat over the top to top up. So just to demonstrate, just to show how much that is, really you want to be kind of pushing a wave of the stuff around on the roof. You should feel like you're really putting too much on. And you should get those kind of lines behind the roller. Once you've got that first coat on, you come along with the matting. It's 225 gram fiberglass mat, which is half the gauge that they use with the GRP systems. Drop your matting into it. Now if you've got enough product on the mat, on the deck already, you should find that that just starts to soak through by itself really. You know, it'll just start to encapsulate the matting by itself. But once you've got that matting down, you come along with the same roller, unloaded, dry roller, and just put a bit of pressure on just to soak that, draw that liquid through the mat. That's why your first coat is so important. You need enough liquid on the deck to be able to pull through and to fully encapsulate the matting in one go. So what you're looking out for is full encapsulation, and you're looking out for any pinholes, which is like we've got there, where it's not fully encapsulated. So if it's a liquid plastic, if there are no pinholes in it, it won't leak. If there are, it will. Once you've got that matting down, you've got the liquid drawn through, it's just then a thin coat over the top, the other 30% over the top to top it up. You use the matting as a gauge for the thickness of the product, so you should, by that I mean you should be able to see the matting once it's done. You should be able to just about see the pattern of the matting, but no pinholes through it. And at that stage, you are done. You are waterproof immediately. It'll take any amount of weather at that stage. The worst case, if it absolutely bounces down after you've put that down, you might get crater marks, pit marks in the surface, but it'll take that amount of weather. Worst case, you might need to put another coat over it the following day just to smooth it over. That's kind of it. It's 24 hours to cure. 24 hours until it's fully cured, but it'll take any weather in that time anyway. So once that's fully cured, after 24 hours, you come back and you paint a top coat over it, which is that darker colour on the sample over there. That gets you a 15-year guarantee. Put that top coat over it. If a contractor does training with us, that 15 years automatically becomes 20 years, and you can extend that to 25 as well by putting an extra layer over the top of it first.
With all the things about energy and that, with the heat, do you do that top coat in white?
We can do the top coat in white, yeah.
The same now, you should paint your flat with white.
To reflect.
Reflect the sunlight.
Yeah, you can. We do the top coat in white. It's just it's a different top coat. It's a two-part. It comes with a separate white pigment. So we're doing neutral top coat with a white pigment that you add to it. Mix that all in, and you just paint it on in the same way. Yeah. If you do get a shower halfway through a day and you get the chance, you can just come along and push that rainwater back off. You don't need to. It is a moisture triggered product, so the water that sits on there won't hurt it at all. In fact, if anything, it might probably just help it cure a bit quicker. But just for the sake of making it neat and tidy, you can just come along, push that back off with a roller and carry on. Overlaps. So one of the benefits of UltraFlex is that your joints become more or less seamless on the matting once you get it encapsulated. You're in for a 2-inch overlap, and your matting itself comes with one frayed edge on one side, clean cut edge on the other, but you use the frayed edge on your overlaps, which just helps it blend in that little bit more. So when you get to your overlaps, like I say, 2-inch, but remembering to put more liquid over the top of where you are lapping onto. And as long as you put that mat in the right way around, same thing, same process, dry roll that in. And that joint will blend in. Over the next couple of minutes, the liquid that's on that matting the matting will soak up the liquid, it'll soften the matting up a little bit, it'll blend in a little bit more over the next maybe 5–10 minutes. And that's pretty much it for how you apply it, really. If it goes wrong, you know, if you get lumps that appear in it, I don't know, if something gets stuck in it, you end up having to pull it out. It's pretty easy to fix, it's really forgiving to work with. Usually, as long as you've got enough product underneath the matting, it's only a small patch like that, you can pretty much just roll it back down without any trouble. But if you've got a real bad one, this tends to happen where you've got overlaps. Someone comes along and they stand on it, you know, the stuff that's been down for maybe half an hour, it's already started to get a bit sticky. If you get a bigger patch that you needed to repair, best bet with something like that is just to pull that out. Take yourself a little patch. And once you drop that in, as long as you use the frayed edges rather than cutting it with a blade, you can put a patch back over there that will blend in like this has done, blend in over the next 5 or 10 minutes and become more or less seamless. And as far as your main application goes, how to put the stuff down with the matting, how to get the waterproofing down, that's pretty much it, to be honest. And that's the same on any substrate. The only difference is if you're going onto a rough surface like mineral felt or something like that, you might find you use a bit more. That's all. Any questions? You can coat straight over it. If you use somebody else's, you need to leave it to cure first. Right. But it'll definitely coat straight over Cromapol. Make sure that Cromapol's stuck. If it's still stuck but cracked, that's fine. If it's in that case, then seal any cracks up with that PU mastic. Yeah. It doesn't have to be our PU mastic, but as long as you use a polyurethane and not a silicone, because UltraFlex won't stick to a silicone. Right. If you use ours, you can coat straight over it. If you use somebody else's, you need to leave it to cure first. Go straight over the felt, straight over the Cromapol. So if you've got bits that are coated and bits that are not, you can just...
The matting is the important stuff, the matting.
Yes, the most important reason for the matting is to give you a gauge for the thickness, because without it you've got no idea how thick the stuff's gone down.
Right.
You know, you don't know whether that's 1 mil, 2 mil, 3 mil, because it's so dark you don't let anything through, you know. So you know when you've got this type of finish, when you can still see the strands of the mat,
Yeah.
but obviously there are no pinholes in it, you know you've got it about 1.5 mil, and that's what it needs to be. If it's much thicker than that, it'll take too long to cure, you'll use too much product, you'll spend too much.
Yeah.
If it's much thinner than that, it'll crack when it's, you know, with expansion.
What happens when you get to the edges? Because it's flat, it's got raised edges.
Right, so we do an additive, an optional additive over there. See that little can called TruSeal, which one of those little cans will treat up to 3 tins of UltraFlex. You mix in, I might be answering the wrong question here, stop me if I am. You mix some of that into a tin of UltraFlex and it'll make it thicker, so it stops it from running. So you can go down the edges and up the upstands and stuff like that without it dripping, without it running away. But were you thinking maybe about, you know, trims and that type of thing?
No, more so because the flat roofs, I think, it's not got any upstands on it.
Right.
Because it runs back, but it's got...
We've got drip edges on.
Felt goes over the edge, yeah.
And would you just coat straight over the felt?
Yeah.
Rather than putting trims on there?
Yeah.
So yeah, in that case then, yeah, you'd put the additive in to stop it running, and that just means that when you come down the front, it means you can get that first coat being the most important bit, means you can get that thick coat on the front without it dripping off. Otherwise, especially on that, because you use a lot more product on felt, and if you were to put that much on in one go without the additive in, it'd just drip all over the place. So yeah, what you do with that stuff, you just add about 1/3 of a can to a tin of UltraFlex, mix it up, ideally with like a whisk on a drill, give it a good mix, leave it about 15 minutes to react. It takes a while before it thickens up, and then just come back and try it. If you think if you feel like you want it thicker, add some more. There's no set ratio and you can't really go too far with it. Right. Even if you mix it up so that it goes solid in the tin, it'll still spread really easily. So obviously if it's solid in the tin, it's going to stay where you put it, you know. So the worst case, if you did go really heavy with the additive, it just means that it dulls the finish a little bit. But if you're going to put the top coat over it the day after anyway, then that cures the problem in the finish. So shouldn't really be an issue, to be fair.
What's the reason for the top coat?
So the top coat's added UV stability. I mean, the product itself is UV stable, UltraFlex UV stable on its own, but it's not UV resistant. And the difference is that UV stable product, it's waterproof for 20-25 years. It's got BBA certs and fire certs against it. It'll last 25 years plus, but it will fade, it'll lose its shine, it'll lose its colour, it'll go kind of a dull light grey after about 6 months or so. The top coat just stops it from degrading at all under UV. Right. The key thing for us is that we don't give a guarantee on it without the top coat. So depends if you want a guarantee on it, I suppose. For adding a non-slip coat to it, because you can use UltraFlex balconies, walkways, car parks, football grounds, anything really. You would use something like a slate granule or a kiln dried sand, or the quartz granules, stuff like that we can use for more decorative areas. All you would do, you do your UltraFlex, you do your waterproofing, you wait for that to fully cure, and then you come back and add the non-slip afterwards. So if you imagine that this piece of cardboard's already got UltraFlex on it, it's already fully cured, and this is just top coat. Now you can put your non-slip down either with a bit more UltraFlex or with top coat. So if you've got a tin left open with some product left in it, you can use either, whichever's easiest.
Does that change the finish on it?
No, but the main difference is that your Ultra Top dries a lot quicker. So it means you can be cleaned up, swept off and out of the way much quicker if you use a top coat. So all you would do, of course that's already got UltraFlex on, it's already fully cured. Yeah. You'll come along, just put a nice coat on, but a fairly thin coat of as I say, either UltraFlex or Ultra Top. Yeah. And then literally just throw the non-slip aggregate onto it whilst it's wet. people try and spread it out evenly, you know, it doesn't work, to be honest. Your best bet is to layer it up really thick, leave that to cure, and then if you've got the benefit of being able to pick the roof up, then you would do, but otherwise of course you come back after it's fully cured, sweep it off, remove your masking tape, and you get a nice even coverage on it, and it's that easy to do really. Whatever you're using, there's not much more to it than that.
And that would also give you your light coloured finish, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would, yeah. Or it might be a benefit for a roof like yours, where it's got a felt cover on, and then it's already got another coating over the top. UltraFlex will show any imperfections to it. So if you put an UltraFlex coat over the top of it and it doesn't look the best, you can put that over it and it just hides it a little bit. Speak to these boys about your price.
I've got a price list for you, Peter. I get that for you.
So you need a standard, you need a tin of that and a roller mat.
And a roller matting. A tin of that, a roller matting. Your roller needs to be solvent resistant. So you don't have to use ours, but it needs to be solvent resistant, otherwise it'll just fall to bits and leave clumps all over the place. And you'll need a tube of the mastic, whether it's ours or you need a tube of a PU mastic. If you've got cracks up there, you want to seal those first. And possibly, for the edges, you might want some of the additive as well.